Hello dear Team Leaders of ISEC for Poland, this is Churi. Today I will be introducing you to the first part of Team Leaders Academy, so I hope you enjoy it. So first, to put into context, every person who joins the organization, always the first thing that they are delivered are team standards, which will be the main thing we will be talking about today. And of course, by being delivered team standards, they are able to learn the competences and to understand and live the ISEC values. This journey continues with them, experiences the inner and outer journey because of all the experiences that they are exposed through by being in ISEC, which in turn leads to them developing their leadership qualities that ISEC, of course, seeks to do. And all of this is enabled through the global learning environments, which we will see more in detail in a minute. Of course, these are the team standards. As we all know, they consist of 3 blocks: building, performing, and closing. Inside of them, we have 3 steps, and inside each step, we have different elements. And all of those small elements happen in different touch points that team leader hosts for the team members, and they enable the outer journey that all members of ISEC go through. So, for example, when they join a team, they become a part of a support system that consists of all of the other team members and the team leader. They start interacting with multiple stakeholders, such as people from schools, NGOs, companies, other students who want to go on exchange. They are in a challenging role and environment because they have to do things that probably they didn't do before. They have individual responsibilities and goals inside of the team. And all of those things that happen to them by being in ISEC are the ones who spark, let's say, this inner journey. And as you can see, they are mimicked or kind of mirrored in the inner journey. So, for example, in a team, you are given individual responsibilities and goals, and this makes you reflect for yourself that you would like to have your own personal goals for your life. But as an effect of being in a challenging role and environment, you start reflecting on your experience and how much you are learning, and so on. And thanks to that, this is how we develop our leadership. This is how we become youth people that are able to empower others, who are world citizens, solution-oriented, and self-aware. And of course, thanks to that, we are able to be each day, closer and closer to achieving peace and fulfillment of humankind's potential. But to go again into the functional part, some things that are very important. One team always has to consist of 1 team leader and at least 2 team members, because having only 1 team leader and 1 team member, or only 2 team members in a team, is not really a team because there's no one leading, and it has to take 2 months or more. And of course, as we said before, it consists of 3 different phases: building, performing, and closing. We will see all of the team standards in detail in the next videos, but also take into consideration, as I said before, that each of them has 3 steps inside of them, and that they have different small elements inside. One thing that is very important is that everyone who is a team leader is responsible to implement team standards. From PAI to any team leader, everybody who is leading people needs to implement the team standards. And also, something that we cannot forget is that there are other elements that are part of team standards that help us to implement them and that makes us better team leaders. The first are the global learning environments, which we will see in a moment. Then we have, of course, the qualities of the leadership development model that we as ISEC have. So if you have still more doubts about them, you can check in the ISEC way to be clarified more about each of the 4 leadership qualities and and what is inside of them. And then, of course, we need to know, understand, and live the ISEC values and always bring them to the front as team leaders, because we are the role models. And last but not least, we have the competences that help us map out what each member should develop to fulfill their goals and basically to do their job. So to start with something, we'll go to the global learning environments. They are 6. They are individual discovery and reflection, one-to-ones, team spaces, learning circles, conferences and seminars, and virtual spaces. To call them short, we can call them GLEAS or GLES. Something that is also very interesting to know about the GLEAS is that they can also be organized, as they are here in this axis, by impact and reach. So there are some GLEAS that have more impact than others, and others that have more reach than others. The 2 clearest examples are individual discovery, reflection, and virtual spaces, because they are like the two opposites. Individual discovery spaces have a very high impact in the person that is going through them, but they are low reach because, of course, they can reach only the one person that is going through them. And on the contrary, for example, we have virtual spaces that have a high reach because those can be, for example, materials or webinars that are available just as this video to almost everyone in the organization, but that maybe don't have the same impact as when you are in a session in a conference or when you are in a one-to-one. So to briefly describe each of them, so individual discovery and reflection is the human capacity of introspection, of course, and they can be done through self-assessment tools, journaling, or individual plan and debrief. Then we have one-to-one, which is basically the support that one person receives in the organization so that they can give their best and basically do their job. And they can be done through mentoring, transition, and feedbacks. And one thing that is important to differentiate of individual discovery, reflection, and one-to-ones is that one-to-ones can only happen when there are two people involved in the touch point that is happening. But individual discovery and reflection can happen like in a session, for example, in a conference, and we allow each person to have a space for themselves. So in that case, for example, we can have a room full of people, and each of them are going through individual discovery. When in one-to-ones, like it requires one people supporting another in their journey in the organization. And something else to differentiate is the fact that one-to-ones is regular, but at the same time, we call one-to-one the touch point that each team leader should have with their team members on a monthly basis to check their goal achievement and their personal development, of course. Then we go to team spaces. So basically it is the interaction with a group of people with different skills and tasks who work together on a common project or goal. And this is the most important thing about team spaces, that everybody should work for the same goal when they are in the team space. And it can be done through team. It happens whenever we have team creation, team plan, team debrief, team working spaces, whenever we are basically thinking or just working in a team. Then we have learning circles, which are a way to organize and honor the collective wisdom of a group for problem solving, and etc. They can be done through hosted spaces, working groups, summits, feedbacks. And something very important to differentiate here also these two GLEs is that team spaces are, as I said before, they have one common goal. All of the people who are involved in this space have the common goal that they are working for. While in learning circle, this is not necessarily happening. People can be just sharing GCPs, but they are working for different goals. They are, for example, people from different LCs and so on. And this is like, for example, very visible whenever we are in summits, that yes, even though we are all working for the same goal, for example, for our entity, at the same time, we're also working for different goals in each of our LCs, and we are focused on maybe different things. Then we have conferences and seminars that are spaces to gather people to discuss, incept, and design things for a common purpose. Of course, we all know about conferences. We have national, local, and international conferences. We have also external events or any trainings that we can receive. And last but not least are virtual spaces, which are formal education delivered by a navigable visual digital environment, and are, for example, this webinar, any kind of video that we are learning from, or materials that are in the hub and that we download. And then another important element that we should take into consideration when delivering team standards is the competence. So, as we said before, this is the experience that any members go through, but leadership qualities are not the only aspects developed in the membership experience. So what ISEC International decided to do was to basically map out all of the competences that members develop, or actually the competences that members need to develop in order to deliver exchanges and to put ISEC closer and closer to our midterm ambition of achieving ISEC 2020. They divided them into mind competences and hand competences that we need to have as each team member of ISEC in the world in order to deliver our midterm ambition. Of course, they are quite clear. The mind competence are what we think and the knowledge that we have about the organization, and the hand or functional skills is what we do and everything that all of the hard skills that we need to have to implement and to bring the action. And there is something very interesting about the competences that if you check on the link that was provided here, bit.ly/competence tags, you will find a spreadsheet that looks like this. And for example, in this part of functional persona, so whenever you are thinking of who are the profiles that you will need to have in your team, or when your VPs are thinking about that, or if you are VPs also when you are thinking about that, that we have different levels here. So we have the competence, that in this case is championing the customer, then we have a description about it, and then we have different levels. So these levels are explained here. So according to the position that you have in ISEC, your management approach must be adapted to fulfilling the different needs. Because of course, as we can see here, when you enter the organization and you are a member, you're managing yourself. So you know what the tasks that you have to do are, you know the tools that you need to do, etc. But when you become a team leader, you're managing other people. When you are an LCVP, you are managing team leaders who are managing other people, and so on and so forth. So this is why the competences that we need to learn and develop in order to deliver ISEC 2020 are also based on three different principles: work, values, skills, and time. So those three things are taken into consideration for the description of each level. And of course, what TM needs to do and support the team leaders in is to understand exactly how to take that into action and how to support each change in phases. So for every time a team member is applying to be a team leader, there should be like a shift of these work values. So for example, when you're a team member, you are focusing on your own priorities. When you're a team leader, you need to know how to teach other people to organize their priorities, and so on. So here we will see like the differentiation we have for managing yourself. For example, the skills that you have to have are technical or professional proficiency. You need to be a team player. You need to have relationship building in the local committee, using organizational tools, processes, and procedure. When it comes to time, you have to fulfill your JD and report to your team leader, meeting personal due dates for projects, usually short-term by managing your own time. But when you start managing other people, for example, when it comes to skills, you need to have a little more skills like planning, projects, budget, job design and selection, delegation, performance management and tracking, coaching and feedbacks, rewards and recognition, etc., etc. All of this, of course, if you are team leaders watching, you have to do it with the help from your VPs, and if you are VPs, of course, you can have the help from your LCP, from MC, and any other people that can help you with this. And yes, when it comes to the main competences, so they are split into 4 bigger categories that are agility, growth, empathy, and eagerness. So those are basically the mindsets that we need to have as ISEC in the world in order to deliver ISEC 2020. And when it comes to the functional skills, there are a lot. As I showed you before, that there is this link, you can go and check them out. They are divided into 6 main fields of knowledge, let's say. There is marketing, talent management, operations, information management, finance, and sales. It doesn't mean that if you are in talent management, the only, for example, skills that you need to have are the ones inside here, or if you are in operations, the only ones that you have are here. Everybody should have the same level more or less in all of them, because as you will see in the tool, this is how it's built. So that was all for the introduction. I hope you enjoyed and that it was a bit clarifying, and I will see you in the next video about building.